The difference between assets and liabilities. If you're like most people, you probably think that your assets and liabilities are more or less the same thing. And while technically this is true, it's important to know the differences between the two if you want to stay financially healthy. After all, they are one of the most important things to understand when it comes to your finances. This is Capitalist Domain and we're going to help you find out what assets and liabilities are in this video. Assets can be tangible like your car, house, or furniture. It can also be intangible like stocks, bonds, and other investment securities or financial instruments such as bank accounts. They're also classified by their liquidity, how easily they can be turned into cash when needed. The benefits of having assets are numerous and varied, but the most important thing to remember is that they provide security. Your emergency fund can help you avoid financial ruin if something goes wrong with your job or an unexpected expense comes along. Assets also give us more control over our life circumstances. This means that we're likely to be less stressed in general than those without any savings at all. Keep in mind though that there will always be some level of uncertainty no matter what type of asset portfolio one builds up for themselves. Liabilities, on the other hand, are the things you have to pay for, like your mortgage, car loan, or credit card debt. But not all debts are bad. Some can actually help you build wealth. For example, debt from a low-interest student loan can help you get ahead by allowing you to invest in your education. The key thing to remember about liabilities is that they're often associated with interest payments. This means that if you're not careful, your liabilities can end up costing you more than they're worth. It's important to always stay on top of your payments and make sure that you're not paying more in interest than you have to. To sum it up, assets put money in your pocket while liabilities take money out of it. It's important to remember that not all debt is bad and that you need both assets and liabilities to have a well-rounded financial portfolio. Now that we know the difference between assets and liabilities, let's talk about some common misconceptions. A lot of people think that their home is an asset, but in reality, your home is only an asset if you're renting it out or using it as a collateral for a loan. If you're living in it, it's actually a liability because you have to pay for things like utilities, repairs, and property taxes. The same goes for cars. Many people believe that their car is an asset because it appreciates in value over time. But unless you're using it to generate income, your car is actually a liability. You have to pay for gas, insurance, and repairs, which can add up over time. Most people also think that assets also have to be expensive, but that's not true. You can find plenty of assets that are relatively inexpensive, like stocks, bonds, and other investment securities. There are also financial instruments like savings accounts and certificates of deposit that can be great assets. It's also a misconception that one has to be wealthy to have assets. In reality, anyone can start building up their assets no matter how much money they have. All it takes is a little bit of planning and discipline. Furthermore, one common misconception about assets is that they always appreciate in value. While it's true that some assets, such as homes and stocks, can increase in value over time, this is not always the case. It's important to remember that there will be also some risk associated with investing in assets. Another misconception is that all debt is bad. While it's true that too much debt can be a financial burden, not all debt is bad. In fact, some types of debt, such as student loans and business loans, can actually help you build wealth over time. The takeaway here is that not all assets are created equal. It's important to do your research and understand the difference between an asset and a liability before making any financial decisions. No matter what method you choose, remember to always start small and gradually increase your investment over time. This will help you minimize the risk and maximize your chances of success. So what are some examples of assets that you can purchase? Some common ones include stocks, bonds, and other investment securities. These are all considered assets because they have the potential to generate income. Other examples include bank accounts, real estate, and precious metals like gold or silver. Investing in stocks, bonds, and other investment securities is a good approach to build up your assets. However, it's important to remember that these types of investments comes with risk. Before investing, make sure you understand the risk involved and do your research. Purchasing a savings account or a certificate of deposit can also be a great way to start building up your assets. These types of accounts offer relatively low risk and can help you grow your money over time. Additionally, using your home as collateral for a loan can be a good way to get access to capital, but it's important to remember that your home is at risk if you can't make your payments. Building up assets takes time and effort, but it's worth it in the long run. By diversifying your portfolio and including both assets and liabilities, you can create a solid foundation for your financial future. Renting out your home can also be helpful in generating income and building up your assets. However, it's important to remember that being a landlord comes with its own set of responsibilities. Make sure you're prepared to handle repairs, maintenance, and other issues that may arise. Furthermore, investing in a business venture is also considered a smart way to build up your assets. However, it's important to remember that businesses comes with their own set of risk. Make sure you understand the risk involved before making any decisions. There are many different types of assets out there, and the best way to find them is to do your research and ask around for advice. Financial advisors can be a great resource when it comes to finding assets that fit your individual needs and goals. When it comes to building wealth, it's important to remember that both assets and liabilities play a role. By understanding the difference between the two and knowing which ones are right for you, you'll be on your way to financial success. No one ever wants to be in a situation where they are liable for something, but it happens more often than we would like. Thankfully, there are ways to reduce your liabilities and protect yourself from becoming too financially responsible for something. One way is to pay off your debt sooner rather than later. This will save you money in the long run and help you become debt-free quicker. Another way to reduce your liabilities is to avoid taking on a new debt. If you can't afford to pay cash for something, don't put it on credit. You can also start saving money so that you have more to put towards assets in the future. Additionally, you can work on increasing your income so that you have more money to invest in assets. And finally, be sure to diversify your investments. This will help protect you from becoming too financially responsible for one thing. While we all have some form of liability, there are ways to minimize it. By being mindful of your spending, saving money, and investing in assets, you can help reduce your overall liabilities. And by doing so, you'll be on your way to financial success. However, financial fitness can be a tricky thing to measure. After all, what one person defines as being in good financial shape may be different from what someone else believes. There are some signs that you can look out for to help you determine if your finances are on track. If you're like most people, you probably think that you're in good financial shape if your bank account is healthy and you haven't gone into debt. However, there's more to financial fitness than just having a positive balance in your checking account. What really matters is whether or not you have more assets than liabilities. Assets are things that put money in your pocket, while liabilities take money out of your pocket. In order to be financially fit, you need to have more assets than liabilities. This means that even if you're making a modest income each month, as long as you have more assets than debts, you should be able to stay afloat financially. Another key indicator of financial fitness is your debt-to-asset ratio. This ratio measures how much debt you have compared to the assets you own. A healthy debt-to-asset ratio is below 20%. This means that for every $100 in assets you have, you owe less than $20 in debt. You should also take into account your savings rate. This is the percentage of your income that you're able to save each month. A good savings rate is between 10 to 15%. This means that you're putting away enough money each month to cover your future needs. When most people think about money, the first thing that comes to mind is income. But it's also important to remember that your net worth is composed of both your assets and your liabilities. So it's crucial to keep track of both in order to ensure you're on track financially. There are a few reasons why it's essential to keep track of your assets and liabilities. First, it can help you stay mindful of your spending. If you know that you have more liabilities than assets, you may be more likely to curb your spending in order to get your finances back on track. Second, tracking your assets and liabilities can help you make smarter financial decisions. If you know that you need to reduce your debt-to-asset ratio, for example, you'll be more likely to focus on paying down your debts rather than taking on new debt. Finally, keeping tabs on your assets and liabilities can help you build wealth over time. By understanding where your money is going each month, you can make adjustments to your budget and save more for the future. We hope you learned something about the difference between assets and liabilities in this video. Stay tuned for more content on how to manage your finances and build wealth. And be sure to like and subscribe if you found this video helpful. Comment down below if you have any questions. We will do our best to answer them in the future videos.